Over the past decade, scores of charter schools have popped up all over the U.S., all sharing some common features. Most of them are high-achieving academically. They stress math and science. And one more thing, they're founded and largely run by immigrants from Turkey, who are carrying out the teachings of a Turkish Islamic cleric, Fethullah Gülen. He's the spiritual leader of a growing and increasingly influential force in the Muslim world known as the Gülen movement, with millions upon millions of disciples who compare him to Gandhi and Martin Luther King. Gülen promotes tolerance, interfaith dialogue, and above all, he promotes education. And yet he's a mystery man. He's never seen or heard in public. And the more power he gains, the more questions are raised about his motives and the schools. We went to Turkey to learn more and found Gülen schools are everywhere and considered the best. They're often multi-million-dollar high-tech facilities where girls are equal to boys and English is taught starting in first grade. Gülen didn't only influence education. Starting in the late 60s as a young imam, he urged crowds of middle-class Turks to learn from the West and embrace its values, including an unexpected one, making money. In this internet sermon, he even told his followers, if you don't seek ways to be wealthy, that is a sin in the eyes of God. So his disciples in Turkey became successful businessmen and built a multi-billion-dollar Gülen empire that beyond the schools includes TV stations, a major bank, Turkey's largest trade association, and biggest newspaper. So I guess one of the big questions is what kind of a Islamic leader is Gülen?
He leads by his own charismatic personality.
Would you call it a personality cult?
Yes.
To his followers, Gülen's like a living prophet. One thing we couldn't find in Turkey was Gülen. Actually, very few people ever see him in person. He preaches via webcast from a prayer room in an isolated and unlikely location. For over a decade, Gülen has been living in self-imposed exile and seclusion in, of all places, the Poconos, in this gated Pennsylvania retreat. So does Mr. Gülen live in this building?
Yes, in this building.
To our surprise, Bekir Aksoy, who heads the retreat, invited us in, even though Gülen had turned us down for an interview. So this is the prayer room. Oh, is that Mr. Gülen's seat, his chair?
Right, whenever he comes out of his room, he sits there and he speaks from there.
And that's where he lives, behind that door?
That is the door behind which Mr. Gülen lives. That is his private room.
Gülen lives there alone. He's never married. The pile of medicine bottles are a reminder that at 70 plus, he's diabetic with heart and kidney problems. Will he come out? Will we get to see him?
For the last 5-6 months, he is very, very ill, really. When he is ill, he does not accept visitors.
When Gülen came to the U.S. in 1999, it was for medical treatment. But then this video surfaced, in which he seemed to order his flock to surreptitiously take over key government positions in Turkey in a stealth Islamic coup. Accused of treason by the government at the time, Gülen decided to stay in the Poconos, even after he was cleared in 2008 in absentia. Why is he still in America?
Well, I think if he were to come back, then there would be such a brouhaha, and I think he would be afraid of being seen as being too powerful.
Too powerful because it seems that his followers have taken over key positions in the Turkish government and the police.
Now, if he says jump, people jump. There's no doubt about that.
You know, we have confronted real fear about this movement, particularly when we've tried to get critics to give us an interview. What are they afraid of?
There's a fear of reprisal. I mean, it is the case that 2 or 3 people who've written books highly critical of the Gülen movement are now in jail.
Seeming to have such power, this Wizard of Oz recluse invites conspiracy theories that he's running Turkey from the Poconos and is bent on global Muslim domination. His movement does lack transparency. Its funding, hierarchy, and ambitions remain hidden, leading our State Department to wonder, in cables between Ankara and Washington, if Gülen has an insidious political agenda.